Picture this. Oh, hi, Dave, Kristen. Hello.
Hello.
Picture this.
Okay.
Franklin, Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
I'm down there last weekend melting at youth soccer games because there are not nearly enough 13-year-olds to play soccer against in Indiana or Kentucky or Ohio or Illinois or Michigan. So we go 2 states away to Tennessee. Hello, Andy. Dame, I was refueling my car and I am at the pump, as they call Kristen, the pump. Is that what they call the pump?
Gas pump, yeah.
Sure. So I'm filling it up. I'm about to fill it up, I should say. I swipe my card. Hello, Reverend Renfro and Jen and Rick. Good morning. I put the card in, and as I'm waiting for it to process, leave card in, and something's happening. Mm-hmm. I kind of just turned my gaze off past the filling station to Ramsey Solutions headquarters, the Mecca of Dave Ramsey. There's a new media center there, an event center, and this whole thing. And in that moment, as I took my gaze back to the gas pump, the question was debit or credit. And I thought to myself, credit. Boom, nailed it. And that is funny to some people. And others of you are like, what a dumb man. Dame, did you die yesterday in the outdoor swim meet that you participated in as a parent viewer with 110-degree heat index? Are you dead?
No, the Lord showed favor upon his people and sent a rainstorm and washed it out before we even started.
Kristen, you watched 2 people commit their lives to one another last Saturday at 3:30 in the Lord's afternoon in the heat as a pregnant lady. Are you dead?
I am not dead. I did survive. Barely.
Unrelenting heat, y'all. Unrelenting heat. Dame, you know how some people get seasonal mood disorder when it's like gray out and they're sad and they're like, I bought a vitamin D lamp, and they're just grumpy. You know what makes me grumpy? Heat. I'm sad. I'm like a dog walking around with a kidney stone. I'm just upset. I don't want to move.
I got a question for you. And I feel like we probably talked about this, but during your childhood, did you have periods where you didn't have air conditioning?
No. I mean, do you mean like as a home, or do you mean like I went to
like you slept in a house that was like 95 and the only thing you had were box fans?
No, that was Hanover when I went to college.
Oh, yeah.
That was brutal. I grew up in the lap of luxury with air conditioning and 2-ply. And then I went to college and got 1-ply and tobacco fields venting into my cold dorm, which wasn't cold. So anyway, yeah, not great. I assume you grew up with the sweatiness?
Yeah, I didn't have consistent air conditioning in the house I lived in until I was in high school.
Wow. Chris, how about you?
We had central air, but my mom hates central air, so she regularly did not use it. In fact, I was just at her house last weekend. When I walked in, I said, why does it feel so hot in here? And the thermostat read 80. I said, well, that's why. Okay.
So, Kristen, I've never met your mother, but I know her to be a lovely, very nice, and great person. How does one? What do you say?
She is lovely, but she has flaws, and that's at the top of the list.
Yeah. How does one have a bad relationship with what some would call central air? I also think that the phrase central air itself has so many ideas to it. But anyway, yeah.
I get her argument, which is that like when you live in the Midwest, you have to close your house for so many months of the year, and she loves to have her windows open, but like there's a line. And she crosses it frequently.
Fair enough. I'm going to do something dumb. Inside baseball. Scott Roddy's upset right now.
Oh boy.
So the next week we're off. Everybody's off. We're not here. The next week we're back, and we have a new sponsor.
Oh, you're breaking it now?
No, I'm not saying who it is.
Oh, okay.
People are going to laugh. People are going to be like, you got to be kidding me. And I think it's really funny.
It's so great.
It's so great. I'm so excited. Obviously, any sponsor, we're glad to do it. And ultimately, I mean, this is the weirdness of me. I'm only going to put stuff onto it. 5 minutes and 21 seconds. There it is. What is going on?
Well, it can never go away now.
Is this like a simulation? Anyway, I'm only going to put things on that I would actually use. Okay. Like I'm not going to be like, and that's why Klarna. I mean, we're not doing that. But this one's amazing. And you guys are, I mean, you two know what it is, and it is amazing.
I can't wait.
Oh boy. Chris, what are you reading right now? A little game called What Are You Reading Right Now?
A book called, well, The Things No One Tells You About Pregnancy.
Oh, do you have news?
What?
I'm just kidding. Spangle, pardon me, Chris Spangle. He's a professional. He wears pants sometimes now. Extra Space Storage is the sponsor. Yeah. So I don't. Do people know this? Chris, as some would call him, Spangle, was my very first radio producer back in 2009 when I had a radio show, and now in many ways helps produce the podcast here for the IBJ Media Network. Podcast Media, IBJ Podcast Media Network. What do you guys think it is?
You could use a vacation.
Where was I? Where was I heading?
You were congratulating Spangle, I think.
Oh, there. Oh, he just had a baby.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Congrats. Well, you know how that works mechanically.
Way to be there.
His wife. Yeah. Wait. Oh, friends. I had some other point, but it has escaped me. Anyway, new sponsor is going to be amazing. It's going to be really fun.
Are we in charge of the copy for that?
I am.
There's no we in this team.
Better.
There's going to be show and tell. Like, you're going to want to be on the live stream. There's going to be visuals.
Okay.
Don makes a really good point. Or is it Dan? I can't read. Does that say Dan or Don?
Dan.
Damn.
All right. I thinks the static is a message from the Lord. I believe that. The verse often associated with money in the context of 521 Proverbs 521, which states, "For your ways are in full view of the Lord." Hey, look, Dan, I'm tired. I need a vacation. As my colleagues here will note, not my strong point, but I'm at a breaking point and I'm out of here next week. So don't even try. Dan, thank you for the Lord's word. Dame, I wasn't going to bring this up, but here we are. Kristen, did you go away for a half second there?
Sorry, I muted myself to cough and accidentally hit the camera button. We're fine.
Well, the Lord just took you out of view.
This is going to be great.
Dame, so we get email.
Occasionally.
Sometimes it's a financial question. Sometimes it's what I would deem to be, "Hey, Pete, you suck" type email, right?
Occasionally.
And the funny thing is, over the years, a lot of years, they used to bother me, and I don't actually even, respectfully, I just don't care anymore. But sometimes they're so far off base that they're funny. Okay, so I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I'll note this, and it's for the listeners to judge. We absolutely do our best to try to keep politics out of this. Are we successful? Sometimes. Sometimes we're not. But I received an email this week that suggested that not only is the show wildly political, but it's wildly political, me specifically, in the complete opposite direction of my actual politics, which is amazing. Dame, it means we're doing a good job.
Well done. That's the only thing that can be surmised from that email is you're doing a great job.
I kind of liked it, Kristen, because I personally, I like to listen to both sides. I listen to podcasts on full ends of the spectrum personally, and I like to just play in the space. But I know what I believe. But someone thinks that Yeah, it was just wild. Anyway, so that was great. That was fun.
Yeah. And I caught a couple strays, and Kristen skated through just in her own just bubbly personality.
Well, here's the mistake I
I'm
made.
soft.
I replied kindly. I thought, was it passive aggressive or was it like, where was it?
It was a skosh passive aggressive.
Okay, sure.
I kind of wondered if AI might have helped you with part of that.
Oh, it didn't. No, it didn't. I voice did it as I was driving, which is smart.
Well, there.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, hey, I got to BCC the kids on this one so you guys could take a look. And in that haste, the B didn't make it. You were CC'd. And so when the person replied back with pithy comments, Dame took some serious strays.
I literally texted Damian on his day off and said, have you checked your email? And he said, no. And I said, oh.
You know, one of the points of the email, how much time we got? Oh, we got to get going. But one of the points of the email, when I play this sound,
Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him.
that was the impetus for a lot of the anger within the email I received.
Mhm.
Not the irony, but
Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him.
the good news is this person said they're never listening again. So if they send me an email telling me I shouldn't have brought this up on the air, they're a liar.
Sorry, not sorry.
Here's the thing. I don't feel free to disagree with my politics. Just at least get my perspective right. You know, I don't care.
How are people supposed to get your perspective right if you're not sharing it?
Yeah,
Pete?
obviously.
That's the dumb part.
What do I know?
What do I know? We have a show.
It was allegedly.
What did I say 20 seconds before air today, Dave?
You ain't got the magic juice today.
I said, whatever it is that makes this thing, ooh, I ain't got it today. I'm tapped. So good luck, show. On 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we spent hours planning the show to bring you the best in personal finance. I'm Peter Nicholas Dunn, Chief Executive Officer at fintech company Your Moneyline, also known as Pete the Planner. Joining me are my colleagues in that mission to bring financial confidence and stability. Sorry. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Pete.
Hi, Dame.
Good day.
In some alternate world, that's the open.
Think so?
If a marketing person wrote it.
Well, that's true.
The full use of your government name, though?
I don't know. The market's a little bit wacky. Dame, I sent this to you guys yesterday. I said S&P's at all-time highs. Huh? What? Of course. What?
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's a great surprise to wake up to, Pete. I can't imagine what could possibly be unsettling about this to anybody.
Up is down, down is up. It's a confusing time. And so what I want to talk about today is this: how to trust your portfolio over the long haul. When things pop up and you get nervous and you get sad and you get excited and your goals change and the economy's doing weird stuff and there are wars, how do you just think about all of your life savings and have confidence in it? So that's what we're doing today. So whether you're a DIY investor, which, Dane, what does that mean?
Do it yourself, I believe.
I don't know. No, that seems aggressive. Or someone who logs into their 401k like it's a haunted house. You're not alone, right? So the other side of this too, Kristen, as we go through this today is, and I mean, frankly, I think this is one of the bigger points here today is like, how do you have confidence in your financial advisor when things get rocky and the choices they've helped you make? So let's get after it. Dame, help me understand where confidence comes into play with investing.
Sure. I mean, there's no shortage of reasons to feel rattled these days. The headlines that you were just referring to. I mean, I think we do a quick little game of how much should you be concerned about these things and how it will impact your portfolio? Can we do a little speed round here on some topics?
Yeah. I mean, I like speed.
First topic, and how concerned should you be on its impact on your portfolio?
Okay.
Number one, inflation.
0 to 10.
Sure. Let's do 0 to 10.
10 being very concerned.
Yeah, running around with your hair on fire, screaming.
Okay, English or Spanish?
Either one.
Okay. Kristen, what? I'm leaving it on the field, Queen.
No.
Kristen, what's your guess here, or what's your evaluation?
I was gonna say 6.
Okay.
I was gonna go with 6 as well. So I mean,
Yeah,
I definitely worn down. That you and I now agree.
I mean, inflation always plays a role in your portfolio and your retirement plan. So this isn't necessarily something that is time period specific. It is always a concern on how inflation is going to impact the overall returns and distribution strategy in your portfolio. So
Time out.
Granted.
All right. I agree with the fact that the inflation's a 6, primarily because I literally said that 39 seconds ago. Mm-hmm. But the interesting part about this, it's long-term inflation. The fact that someone is dealing with 11% egg inflation 2 years ago, in my opinion, is like a 1. But if the long-term inflation rate goes from like 2.7% to 4.2, then it's a 6. Is that fair?
I understand the reasoning. I don't know if I completely buy into it, because if you have enough things that have a significant amount of short-term inflation, if you don't have margin in your month to month to absorb that kind of inflation, you're in trouble. And that, I guess we're talking about, as I noted at the beginning of this, your portfolio is the concern at this point. But if we're talking about day-to-day stuff, short-term inflation can be super, super painful, as we all know. But I will begrudgingly give you an agree on that.
I've slowed down the speed round. Next.
Interest rate hikes.
4.
Man, Kristen, I'm a lazy 4. I don't think, yeah.
The original.
Oh, 4.1.
There we are. AI hype.
8.
8.
I wasn't gonna say 8, but I was definitely gonna be higher than a 5. So maybe we'll say like 6 or 7.
Okay. War. What's a good one?
This is really ironic because on Saturday, when notifications were flying while we were at the wedding about
The heat.
events, that too,
No.
I text my sister and said, "Hold on to your 401k, boys and girls." Nothing.
Nothing.
What?
Okay, so Kristen, I'm really glad you feel that way too. I know this is what we do, and we've been doing this a long time, but oftentimes I feel like a complete imbecile and idiot on these things because I feel gaslit, because up is down and down is up. We entered into a military conflict. I'm going to say randomly, but let other people argue about that in the email. And the market is up, and gas prices or oil prices are down. I don't understand.
Can we just all agree that there should be a moratorium on any news outlet trying to use economics and prognosticate on economics, because nobody understands what's going to happen on any of those fronts?
I don't understand, obviously. I mean, I thought that was like the given. Don't check your betterment on Monday. Wrong.
Here. Okay, keep going, because otherwise we're deviating down a path I don't really want to go down.
Last one, elections.
3.
5.
Yeah. But
In long term, right? We took in long term?
Yeah, long term.
But the problem isn't the long term for most people. The problem, particularly for the DIY investor, is that these things have short-term impacts and then people make decisions that they shouldn't. So, I mean, you could almost take that two different ways. It's like over the long term, do I think that this matters? I mean, I think most of these things don't really matter at all over the long term when it comes to your investments. But in the short term, people make bad decisions.
Yeah, and I think the important point there is it's not just the novice investor. Everybody second guesses themselves when it comes to it. It's a human problem. When you are dealing with your own money, you make decisions you might not otherwise if you were talking to somebody else about their money. So we have to make sure that we are keeping a clean mind and hopefully keeping the emotions out of the decisions that we're making with our dollars.
So I have a question, and maybe this is where the show's going because you all planned it and I just didn't prepare today like normal. I mean, isn't this also predicated on the idea that someone will choose whether or not they want to avoid loss and or benefit from market downturns? Isn't that part of this? Because if confidence is, oh, are we doing the right thing? Or is it the inverse, which is, hey, the market's tanking, let's actually avoid that and or profit from the market tanking? Doesn't that come into play, or am I overthinking this?
I don't think for the average investor. I think the average investor is not thinking through that lens at all.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think whatever just above the average investor where someone has too much confidence despite their lack of knowledge,
yes,
that's that person where they feel the pressure to, it's because of like day trading commercials and all those sorts of things that sort of leans into it. So let's do this. Let's take a break. Let's calm down. Everyone calm down. Kristen? Dame? Coming up after the break, more of what do you do when your confidence is waning in your portfolio? I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the show named after me. Boy, that sounded much grosser than I was hoping. It was gross. I'm out of words, y'all.
It's what somebody with your political opinions I would expect to say.
You guys better hope.
What? That somebody doesn't send me a nasty email again?
Well, they didn't really. It was Pete's fault that they sent you.
He's got my email address now. Thanks to Pete, he can send it directly to me.
I think the funny part about you getting thrown under the bus on that email was that, okay, so they fundamentally just really said the opposite of what reality is for me. And you both know that,
yep.
Right?
Right.
And so maybe the thing with Dame was less egregious. It's whatever they said about Dame wasn't true. They just are refusing to understand the nuance. And I think, Dame, your political perspective is so much more nuanced than mine is. And it's even dumber that people are just like, well, he's that. It's like, well, no, you don't. You're not listening because that's not his perspective. But Kristen steered clear.
I mean, just feel really happy.
You and I go out of our way not to talk about what we think and feel and where everybody else is wrong and we're right.
I will say some of my favorite conversations ever with you, Dame, are when we're off the air, just connecting and chatting and poking at each other's ideas. And I don't think I've ever gotten mad.
No, I mean, by the way, for those of you who are just joining the Pete the Planner show, Pete and I don't see the things, even though we share a last name and probably plenty of family, even though he refuses to take a DNA test.
I'm not taking a DNA test.
We share some common sense things on the political spectrum, but lots of differences.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Kristen, how you doing?
Just in general?
Yeah, in general. It's like actually exactly what I meant.
Oh, well, I'm actually doing really, really good. The last month has been just a completely different world for me.
Yeah, it's fair. Same. A little bit same.
My work is on fire a little. But
oh, well, that's good. Dude. Someone tell your boss.
But that's okay.
Which isn't me.
That's true.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for everyone. All right. Well, let's do. So we have some more things here.
Two more things. We call them segments.
Oh,
well, really, there's three.
Three technically, but he's in charge of the fourth one, so I'm hoping.
3, 2, 1. back on the Well Prepared Pete the Planner show. Hey, we're off next week, so you will get the best of. It's just slim pickings. All right, so Dame, we're talking losing confidence or maybe retaining confidence in your investments when the world's just upside down for 2 or 3 months, at least back to April 2nd, which was certainly Liberation Day. Very, very liberating day. It's just been dynamic, maybe is the best way to say it. The economy's been dynamic. The world economy's been dynamic. The market has certainly been dynamic. Well, now we're at a place where the S&P 500 somehow, some way is at a record high. And on a level, for some, that's wildly disconcerting. I don't know how and why, but I kind of feel that way. So Dame, how do we get our head around this? How do we build a portfolio you can actually trust?
I think there's 4 things you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about your investments and trying to stay grounded in all weather when you're dealing with the ups and the downs of the markets. First thing, clarity of purpose. Your portfolio isn't a scoreboard, it's a tool. It's going to help you get to that destination.
Can we time out that? I don't want to hit the sound. It's too loud.
Is it? Did it change?
I don't know. I'm just, it's the buttons all the way over there. My hands are just on my hips. Dame, say that again and say it so I understand it. Your portfolio isn't a scoreboard; it's a tool. What? That seems really smart, but I'm going to need someone to explain that to me.
Yeah. So you're not looking at this in terms of winning and losing. You're trying to assess a goal, an overall goal to the portfolio, those dollars. Now, you could potentially argue, well, I need X number of dollars to retire, for example, but the decision on when to retire is entirely yours, usually. So it's a tool to help you achieve a financial goal, not necessarily be stressed out about the dollar figure that you're seeing in the account. Does that make some sense? Or
Maybe.
am I still losing a little bit?
Kristen, I'm thinking battle war. It's sometimes you're going to win the battle, but you're not necessarily losing the war, or is that completely on a different plane?
I think that's fair. I would probably reframe that as like, it's so important to know the point. That's a social media challenge that I've seen a lot lately, where people just take a minute and they're like, they say, I almost forgot this was the whole point. So maybe, Pete, that's while you're filling up the car with fuel, headed to Tennessee for this, soccer tournament that you must go to. And you might be annoyed because of gas prices and the traffic, and you took the whole weekend. But it's like, I almost forgot this was the whole point, to like have the family I want and to raise kids who get to do these sorts of things. And if we apply that same logic to your portfolio, it's like, what's the point? Are we saving for retirement? Are we saving for college? Are we saving for some level of stability or financial freedom? Like, why?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? That everything doesn't feel so personal in the moment, and you just got to pull back the lens a bit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Look at you two.
Yeah. So we've talked about financial goals a lot on this. And if you don't have financial goals ascribed to your investments, it's going to make it a lot easier to focus on just the numbers that are inside there. So make sure, if you don't have something attached to those dollars, even if it's just something generic like an opportunity fund, that those dollars are going to be there for you to take advantage of certain things or be flexible or whatever it is. Make sure that you understand what those dollars are going to be used for.
Take me to the importance of data within this, because I think on some level, panic and emotion and a lack of confidence can be squashed with the proper data. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you are looking at the right time periods, or making sure that all of the ancillary numbers that go along with it are within reason, great. I mean, if you're setting yourself up with unrealistic targets for this, and the data is not going to support it anyway, you're just setting yourself up for heartburn at best, and maybe some really long sleepless nights at worst. So make sure that you are using data appropriately when you're trying to evaluate your portfolio performance. Know that huge pullbacks happen. They just do. They're not uncommon. I mean, if you're of Pete's my age, you've been through a number of these at this point. Kristen, don't worry, you'll get there. You'll have a bunch of those too. But it's not uncommon. And that's why it's really, really, really important to make sure that you are invested properly and not just out there chasing returns if you A, don't need to, or B, shouldn't be chasing returns.
I might go as far as to say that when the market is at a record high, there is no better time to reevaluate whether you're invested appropriately. It is the opposite of what you feel like you should do. The market reacts, it pulls back, you want to panic. No, now's the time. We're telling you that the S&P is at basically an all-time high, and now is the time to say, am I really that sure of my risk tolerance right now, or is it possible that I'm invested too aggressively? It's now. It's not when there's a pullback.
Yeah, and that's partially because, I mean, we all anticipate this continuing to climb in the decades to come. So if you get caught a little flat-footed and you would make an adjustment when things aren't at an all-time high, okay. But it's that consistency of approach that's going to matter for you going forward. You can't keep making these changes at inopportune times. But if you want to make changes to your strategy, this is a great time to do it.
What's interesting about this is if you think about, I'm going to choose 45 days as a period that's saying that like we felt like toast 45 days ago. We were like, oh no. So if you held steady, didn't do anything, and 45 days passed and we are where we are now and everything is fine, quote marks, air quotes. When you look at that and you were freaked out 45 days ago, do you now go, I shouldn't have been freaked out? Or do you say, okay, I'm now comfortable with the level of freak out and then the resolution to that? Or do you say, you know what? I hated how I felt 45 days ago. I'm glad I recouped to how I am or to where we are now, but I'm dialing it back to Kristen's point. Let's make the change now. That Kristen, again, maybe my brain is dead. However, you guys are blowing my mind today.
No, I think that's exactly right. That's the third pillar is your behavior. We started to tee into that and you really set that up, which is that, you have to be consistent and you have to be, into pillar 4 of the 4 pillars that Dame put together for us today is, regular review is really important. And it's really easy to not be checking in when things are good, or maybe vice versa, depending on your personality type. But it's really important to be checking in when you're seeing headlines in either direction to ensure that you're comfortable with where you're at.
Yeah, regular review is the key, not obsessive review. You're not setting yourself up for more mental anguish or whatever emotion you're going through. Just regular review. Pete, I think we talked about this not that long ago. How often we check our own investment returns, and I mean quarterly is plenty, frequent enough. And if you go to semi-annual or annual, depending on what stage of your life you're in and how those dollars are going to be used, potentially even that long out. Kristen's shaking her head because, well, she just doesn't understand yet, clearly. But Kristen, how often do you check your portfolio? Like twice a day?
Like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So if it's just who I am as a person. It has nothing to do with me as an investor. It is who Kristen is as a human being. She can't help it.
Well, when I sent you guys that article yesterday, or that headline that just said the S&P is towards a near high or whatever, record high, I looked at my portfolio because I haven't looked since 45 days ago or so. I just haven't looked. And I was like, oh, well, would you look at that? Would you look at that? All right. So clarity, structure, behavior, and oversight. And that is where confidence can come from. And even if you've done all that, you still have moments of doubt. What do you do to prevent your confidence from wobbling? That is next on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. So, my book is out or whatever, or it comes out. I don't know. No one knows. No one actually cares. It's here. This is it. It's a great paperweight. So I have to shoot a bunch of videos for the socials for this thing. Our marketing team is a really great group of people, and they're like, hey, do this. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. So I'm doing it. there's like a psychotic when you're like, hey, this video's topic, and you just do like 9 in a row. Kristen, you and I have shot these types of videos together before, and you shoot them in a row, and you're like, am I losing it? Am I in an alternative reality? And that was yesterday for me. And so I think that's why I'm kind of shook today. I'm just like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah, that's totally fair. You start to like, it's almost like you're watching yourself, not like from afar, like you're like zoomed out and you're like watching Pete, not like being Pete. I don't know. It's a really like disassociating experience.
I will say, I was telling you guys, we joked about it a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm looking forward to doing the audiobook. I just haven't had time, which is also sort of BS, right? Like, I both have and haven't. I just haven't made time. But I'm looking forward to it. I think I'll actually feel good about that.
I've always kind of wondered this. Will you have the liberty to add in like little comments as you're reading the book and just like, author's note, blah, blah, blah?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that other than to say, I mean, theoretically, I would be the one to make that decision.
Yeah.
And you guys know me well enough to know if I'm in a weird mood or not. Like, if I do it and then we put it and we submit it, and then I have instant regret of like, why was I doing Goofy's voice?
So accurate.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I just don't know what version of me I'm going to get on any given day. And so then regret sets in.
That's so fair. And it's not like, in like a one-time speaking engagement where then it's like over, this will live on. So maybe not.
How about you record 2 versions, one straight word for word.
He just told you he doesn't have the time, that he hasn't made the time.
You're going on vacation. You got all the time in the world.
That's true.
It's going to take me till Wednesday to come down. We've done this dance, Mrs. Planner and I. By the way, our 25th wedding anniversary coming up next month.
Hey, congrats.
And we've done this dance long enough that it's usually Wednesday mid-morning on vacation if we leave on a Saturday. And it's like everything clears and I'm like, oh, I'm here to have fun. And then there's 2 days left of vacation. and then we do it again later, a year later.
Because she planned the whole thing.
Yeah.
She bought the tickets. She chose. She does this. And then halfway through, you decide to enjoy it.
I just stare off into space like what's eating Gilbert Grape. And I'm like, I can't function.
It's a movie, Kristen.
I didn't even try, Dave. I looked immediately away from that woman. Can we call you that woman? I mean, how's that work?
That's fine. Just don't, though that somehow makes it better than just calling me woman. So
yeah, I agree. You're not going public with the baby name. I mean, obviously we know it, but are you going public with it?
I mean, like I sent out my shower invites and it's on it. So, I mean, that's as public as it gets, I think. I still haven't posted anything on like social media or anything. So like people see me in person and now I look pregnant and they're like, what? I'm like, surprise.
Maybe they just think it's goiter. Like you don't have enough iodine in your diet.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't generally make those sort of judgments. Dame does.
Well, par for the course.
Okay. Let's do, what do we got? Another thing? Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. Confidence is a beautiful thing. It can make up for a lot of lack of substance, lack of a plan, lack of experience. And somehow, mystically, many times it bridges the gap and it gets the job done. But what if when everything is on the line, your confidence starts to waver? And by everything, I mean your nest egg. I mean your life savings, your investment. What do you do when it slips? So the last few segments, at least the 9 or 10 segments of this episode, we've talked about how to prevent that. But what happens when it happens? That's right, Dame. What happens when it happens is what a lot of people good with literature and prose would say. Dame, help.
Sorry, that was great. So What do you do when things just start going your way? Your confidence not so high. First thing, we do what Pete needs to do. We pause. We take a deep breath. We recenter ourselves. You have to make sure you're not going to confuse urgency with importance. Does this have to happen right now? Most mistakes happen fast. Most gains will happen slowly over a number of years.
That you're dropping these like really pithy after school special lines today that I want to slow down on. Don't confuse urgency with importance. Blow that out a bit, pal.
So every once in a while, we will feel like this has to happen now. You've seen that Foursquare box on urgency and importance, where you rank them high urgency, high importance, and then blah, 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 blah. Is this super urgent thing really important? Does it have to happen now, or do you need to take a step back and make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons? This is the important thing that needs to take place right now. Maybe important, might be able to wait a little bit. Like if you are just now realizing that you should be reinvested in a different way, have a different asset allocation, risk tolerance might need a little tweaking. That's really important. And now is arguably a great time to do it. So yeah, I just don't confuse the two. They are completely separate of each other.
Kristen, he said something else there. I don't know if he prayed to Buddha or something this morning. He said most mistakes happen fast. Most gains happen slow. Most mistakes happen fast is so true. Investing in life, investing, you're like, I got to do something. Oh no, I did something. That is, I've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really interesting is we're having this conversation again at the best time to be having this conversation, because these are the things you need to remember the next time you're scared, the next time you're afraid. Channel Damian, whatever, whatever he is today, like with all of these comments and everything that he's put together, like hear Damian's voice saying like, okay, this is important, but this is this urgent? Do I need to be doing something about this right now? This is for future you.
Yeah, it's the Dami Lama. Go on.
Okay, so next thing you can do, return to the plan. This kind of tags off of what we talked about in the last segment, but what was the goal for these dollars? Has anything changed to impact what should be going on here? If they haven't changed, if your goals haven't changed, your plan probably doesn't need to either, unless there are a couple things you can clearly point out. But otherwise, what's that for? What's the goal? And is there something fundamental that really needs to change now that you are second guessing yourself at this point?
That's just a classic. I mean, that is the classic investment advisor. Calm down. Have your goals changed. No. Then don't make a change. Yeah. Just calm down.
Case in point, go back to the beginning of the year. What changes have the three of us made to our retirement portfolios?
I bought more.
Yeah.
Yeah, none. Nothing changed, because my retirement goals, my risk tolerance, my time horizon, none of those things changed, even when the market was a little scarier earlier this year. Keeping the course. Was I checking it because I'm obsessive? Yes. Did I change anything? No.
Yeah, that also goes to another point. Long-term trends are your friend. Don't get caught in a small window of data. Look out over long periods. Now, I can already hear people saying, well, this time it's different. If I had a nickel for every time. But it's always different. It's always different, regardless of what it is. The results have largely been the same over long time periods.
We've talked about this so many times. It always feels different.
Yeah.
But this time, dude, it's not different. We have been through a pandemic, an unprecedented pandemic. A lot of people gone. We've been through Liberation Day, which isn't even sorted out yet. 90 tariff deals in 90 days, and there's 1.5 with 13 days left. Okay, which the fear of that in mid-April had everyone freaking out. Dame, as of literally this moment, in the last 5 years, 60 months, 260 weeks, can't do the days. The market has doubled. The S&P 500 is stone cold doubled in 5 years when, oh no, eggs are 11%. I'm going to touch your lips. I'm going to shush them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I would even argue that might be too short of a window to look at.
Yes.
Yeah, look at the 10-year.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Please, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, let me go. Okay. 10 years. What's today? The 25th of something.
June.
No, it's the 25th year of the Lord. All right. What year? 10 year. Okay. 10 year.
2015, June.
Okay. The market is up about 200% in 10 years.
Right.
No,
But it's different.
Yeah, but should we expect 200% into every 10 years? No, absolutely not. It's been a really good 10 years. But think of everything that we've gone through during that 10 years.
Right.
Lots of stuff.
But eggs.
I mean, they are expensive.
They are eggs. We were going on vacation and we got some eggs in the fridge. Last night, my wife was like, "Hey, someone needs to eat these eggs so they don't go bad." I'm like, "Okay, eggs, we're having eggs." Dane, what about calling a sounding board when things get hard?
I love it. I mean, that's one of the most valuable services that a financial planner provides for clients. And it doesn't have to be a financial planner. It's just the one that I naturally grab because that's what I'm most familiar with. But being able to bounce your fears or your concerns or your thoughts, or your ideas or your opinions off somebody who is dissociated from the actual results that you're depending on can be super, super helpful to make sure that you're staying a little bit more consistent in your approach. Now, you have to be really careful about who you pick as your sounding board.
There it is.
But if you can find that trusted person who maybe sees things a little bit differently than you, but in a reasonable, rational way that won't negatively impact your returns or your performance, man, finding a sounding board can be a huge, huge benefit.
Picking the wrong sounding board
can be detrimental.
I mean, that's as bad as making a quick decision and then a mistake. I mean, it's like, then you're just in an echo chamber. People love an echo chamber. I don't know if you know about this. People love to just have their feelings reflected back to them.
That's half of the internet.
And just because someone appears to be financially successful does not mean that they are a good sounding board. Just because your colleague who looks like they have it all together doesn't mean they're the person to turn to, or the friend or the grandparent or the uncle or whoever.
You nailed it. So let's do this. We're going to take a break. And we're going to understand that confidence comes in just looking successful. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the point. After the break, we're going to do biggest waste of money of the week and the news. Ultimately, calm is a skill, not a personality trait. And that's my original point I wanted to get out there to you right now. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the show.
I really like Pete on this show.
Thank God for Damian, because without Damian, this show was nothing today. I've contributed nothing. Pete cannot speak.
He can't even stand up right now, I don't think. I think he's passed out.
If this is your first show, I'm sorry.
So my high school football team was terrible.
No.
Like really bad.
Who was the quarterback?
Me.
Oh, sorry about that.
Which begins to explain a lot.
Mm.
And I remember we were down like 50 points at halftime of a homecoming game or something.
Your homecoming game?
Yeah.
Oh.
They didn't give you guys like a gimme, or like there wasn't one available?
No, their middle schools were busy. So we couldn't play anyone that was a gimme. And I just remember my coach getting in my face going, just leave it on the field. Leave it all on the field. And I think about that. And I'm telling you, it's taken me 30 years to deliver on this, but I'm currently leaving it on the field for you guys today.
Everybody is asking the same question in their heads right now. How did the second half of that game go after that halftime speech?
Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him.
I think I had 3 interceptions in the first half.
Oh, mom.
But
Look, and less than that in the second.
less than that in the second. There we are.
Kind of hard to throw an interception from the bench. Okay. Oh, we were talking about what are you reading right now? Dave, are you reading anything good right now?
Just finished the book Original Sin by Jake Tapper and somebody else. And
Somebody else.
Sorry, pal. Whoever you is.
it was just Jake on TV talking about it, pimping that book out for like 6 weeks ahead of its release date. And so I apologize. I'm sure you contributed a lot to the book, and Jake just his name. I don't know.
Yeah, Dave's a big CNN guy.
Yeah, and so I'm looking for the next book at this point.
I just loaded up last night the audiobook for The Vacation. I've got the new Brad Thor spy thing. He comes out every 4th of July as a new book. It's the Scott Harvath. It's where I try to live my middle-aged fantasies through a character who has the fitness level of man half his age, as the writing goes.
Oh, yeah, because you're like a big Taylor Sheridan fan, right?
Don't start on this, because this is Kristen. I know you don't talk to Mrs. Planner, but this is like a thing where she's just like, "How are your male soap operas?" And I'm like, "Can I just enjoy this without the judgment of this?" Like, I don't like, you watch The Crown. You're watching the Queen, and I don't go to you. Oh, the Queen. But I watch a situation which Taylor Sheridan has every show on Paramount Plus,
Right.
and it's like, how are your soaps? And it's like, please stop. Anyway, thanks, Chris. I'm also reading. I'm really excited about this. I just downloaded The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter.
I heard about that.
I don't think so.
Here's what I believe it to be about, because I haven't read it yet. That by seeking comfort and by seeking ease, you actually lessen the quality of life. That it is a book to tell you how to do excessively hard things all the time, which I like to do. So, yeah.
But from the comfort of air conditioning.
No, Kristen, you're making a face?
I just don't buy that at all. What's the point of working hard and like living in the most advanced technological times if you're not going to enjoy the fruits of yours and others' labor?
Well, I'll let you know. I'll do a little book report like I used to back in middle school. I'll be like, and I would just make up something, and I'd get a B+.
Naturally.
Okay. Oh yeah, show 3. Oh no, I'm not ready.
Surprise.
2, 1. This week, we have the biggest waste of money of the week, as always, in the 4th segment. I just tried to restart the show. I'm sorry. Hello, syndicated radio audience. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, right here on the Pete the Planner Show, is Pan Am Journeys. Pan Am Journeys, founded in 1927. Pan Am was the 20th century's most beloved airlines, at one point serving 87 countries on 6 continents. It shut down in 1991, but now it's making a comeback thanks to Beyond Capricorn, the first modern journey. Pan Am, tracing the transatlantic routes, recently departed from JFK Airport in New York City on its way to Bermuda, Lisbon, Marseille, London, Foynes in Ireland, and flight attendants and replicas of original Pan Am uniforms, the Pan Am logo, and the fuselage and tail of the Yankee Clipper, 2 Boeing's 757 aircraft, and business class lie flat seating helped usher guests into the golden era of the jet eggs. No. I'm short-circuiting on the radio. Thanks to strong response, the next adventure, tracing the Trans-Pacific, has been announced for April of 2026 departure from San Francisco. Here's what you guys are trying to guess the price of. A 21-day journey, including stops in Tokyo, Siem Reap, Cambodia, Singapore, Darwin, Sydney, Auckland, Nadi, Fiji, What do you think this costs for a 21-day trip to those cities, which I mispronounced?
Just the flights or the whole thing?
The whole journey.
Oh.
Is that coach airfare? Or are we getting...
No, lie flat seats is what I would have said if I could pronounce anything.
Okay, great.
What are the odds that you make it to all 21 of these destinations?
Are you saying like plane crash?
Well, I mean, they went out of business and they're coming back,
It's
and
a new plane. They just
it's
put the
Boeing.
livery. They put the livery on it. It's
not the Wright brothers. What's the price, Chris?
Jeez, I have no idea. This is exclusive. This is just like a one-time deal.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay, so this is going to be $250,000.
Okay, that's aggressive, Dame.
I'll say it's going to be like 70 grand.
$94,495. Kristen goes big.
They could have
and misses.
They could have charged more. People love exclusivity. That price is low.
It's true.
Dave, what's in the newspapers?
Nearly 2 million federal student loan borrowers could see their wages garnished starting this summer. After pandemic-era protections ended, about 6 million borrowers are at least 90 days past due on payments, according to TransUnion. Roughly a third of them could slip into default as early as July, meaning the government could begin taking up to 15% of their paychecks. Collections on defaulted loans restarted in May, including the possibility of seizing tax refunds or federal benefit. Another million borrowers could default by August, and 2 million more by September if payments don't resume. During the pandemic, payments were paused and borrowers had a 1-year on-ramp last year to avoid credit score hits, but that period's over. Borrowers falling behind now have seen their credit scores drop by an average of this many points.
72.
Kristen?
I'm taking the over. 95.
60.
Oh,
60. Education department is urging people to catch up on payments to avoid wage garnishment. All told, more than 43 million Americans owe $1.6 trillion in student loan debt.
This is not advice, what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But I think it'll be really, really interesting as someone who has spent a lot of time in her career in the student loan space to see if the Department of Education and the Default Resolution Group, their collection agency, makes good on their promise to actually garnish wages. Because this was something, for those who aren't familiar, this was always part of the ball game before the pandemic pauses. But it was often that people didn't see garnishment or they didn't see seizure of tax refunds from their student loans or from lack of payment. So I think it'll be really interesting to see if there's actually follow through on this or if this is just a headline that's trying to scare people into repayment. But don't act on that because technically they can still do it.
Were those reported? I mean, prior to this right now, were those reported to the credit bureaus? Did people's credit scores get dinged before?
Yes. I would see, like, someone would come to me and be like, my credit score isn't great. I have all of these missed payments. I see that my student loan is in collections, but like nothing is actually happening with it. And so that would almost behaviorally cause someone to then not make a decision because it's like, well, they're not actually forcing my hand. And the thing that they were doing to try and harm me, the decrease in credit score, has already happened. So like, what's the point? The damage is already done.
Yeah.
This reminds me of two recent-ish events. Number one, when the advanced child tax credit payments deposit stopped on December 15th of 2021 after 6 months of payments. And so then there was this population that's cash flow sort of immediately shifted. And that also reminds me of October, I believe, of 23 when student loan payments restarted. And so it's a shift in cash flow. But this time, the shift in cash flow is going to come via garnishments. And I think look, I've literally been wrong about just about everything in the last 6 months economically and financially. So you need to know that. But this feels like it's going to have a material impact on the economy.
Well, Kristen and I don't know if we've discussed it much on the radio or podcast, but we are seeing way, way, way more people coming to us about trying to get debt under control and even considering bankruptcy if they can't get it. So there are already people feeling the pinch. And if garnishment starts happening in earnest, there's going to be that flywheel is going to spin even faster.
Have we talked about this, that back in 2008, early 2009, during the for-profit college meltdown, that it was really popular for people to enroll in college for the student loans as a means of income and survival. And that was like a big part of the for-profit, we'll call it a scheme for lack of a better term, that they would actually encourage people in a way to do that. Do you think we're coming to a time in which that could somehow come back to life, not for profit, but people using vocational schools or something for the loans?
I think people do that all the time. And whether they realize they do or they don't, I think that's what's so scary is someone sees, particularly in the Parent Plus space, that's where we see these astronomical balances, or in the grad loan space where, hey, I'm offered the total cost of attendance and I'm taking the money that's available to me. I don't think that that's ever stopped. Now, maybe the players are a little bit different in that game, but I would argue that's the same story.
What else is in the news?
Two of the original giants of online job hunting, Monster and Career Builder, have officially filed for bankruptcy. Once go-to platforms for resume uploads and corporate dreams, the sites said they'll sell off parts of their business to different buyers under Chapter 11 proceedings. Monster in particular was a pioneer. You might remember its iconic Super Bowl ad from the late 90s where kids sarcastically hoped to climb to middle management and be replaced on a whim. But as sites like LinkedIn and Indeed rose to power, Monster and Career Builder fell behind. And last year, they actually merged in a bid to stay afloat. But it turns out even the companies that help people find jobs sometimes lose theirs.
Ouch.
Did you guys see, that's some aggressive copy. Did you guys see that Bumble laid off a third of their workforce this week? They laid off 1,000 people. That's the dating site. And they cited the fact that they just simply are struggling to figure out Gen Z's dating preferences.
Really?
It's a setup of a joke. It's really not a setup of a joke that happened.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have blamed AI.
Oh, yeah, that's true too.
I mean, you'd think there'd be an algorithm that would have cleared all that up for them and would have figured it out itself.
Well, I mean, what Salesforce came out yesterday and said 50% of their work is now being done by AI. I mean, that was a shocking number when I saw that yesterday.
30 to 50%. Yeah.
That's aggressive.
That is aggressive, and I'll be to some level I don't buy it, but whatever. All right, we did it. This was the best show we've ever done, and you got to listen to it. Off next week, best of on the radio podcast. Deal with it. Send you good vibes. Good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. You got so several moments in my life. Whether I'm saying this literally or figuratively, I've been called to the principal's office. Maybe it's just like a thing. I have that feeling in my bones right now after this show. Like, this is what it feels like. This is like a talking to on the horizon. I don't know who's going to pull the trigger, what organization, but it feels like it's coming after this one.
If our producer's still listening, wait till after his vacation.
I mean,
yeah, let his wife enjoy it, please. Yeah. Don't ruin her vacation.
I don't even know what to tell you. So, podcast listeners, who are my family? I'm both sorry, I think, but if you enjoyed this, I'm not doing it again. I got nothing. I'm tapped. Sorry, nothing for you. I feel like you two have been giggling like schoolgirls the entire time watching me suffer and flail.
It's been one of my favorite shows.
You guys, what's wrong with you?
Truly, it's been a really good time for me. And thank goodness, because I didn't have anything in the tank either, but I was able to actually form sentences apparently, which was like really all I had to do today.
Well, the good news is I'm interviewing a major expert in the world of HR in 56 minutes for an hour-long videotaping. So that should go well, really.
Go get some pre-workout in if I were you.
No. Do not make this problem worse.
Okay. Oh, that's all I got. Good luck with your... Oh, I left up the Pan Am thing the whole time?
It's okay. It's okay.
Good Lord, help us all stay getting money.